What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Ghost of Yotei and the potential sales, the controversy that's going on online. Really, a lot of misinformation, I think, happening here. So, look, from what we can see, it seems like this game is doing quite well. Now, the first thing you will probably say when watching a video is, okay, well, define quite well. Well, there were rumors of it selling 1 million. There were rumors of it selling 2 million. Now, earlier today, I believe there was a PlayStation China employee that tracks these things, and there was stories being written about it that they had posted that it sold 2 million, and they took the post down. So it's like, all right, did it actually sell 2 million? Did it not? From what people are saying, it seems like that is the reported number, which puts it close to Tsushima. I do think it actually puts it slightly lagging behind it. Now, another thing to talk about is there's this article from Push Square. So in the Hokkaido region, there's a retail chain, and they said it's selling like hotcakes. And they're talking about, on top of that they're hoping that this can actually push tourism to the island, much in the same way. If you remember, Tsushima gave them a lot of publicity and really helped them out locally, like literally locally. So that's cool to see. Now that doesn't it's one area, so it doesn't necessarily help us out. Is it selling like 20,000? Is it selling 100,000? You can't really tell from that. The big thing in terms of the miscommunication or misinformation, right, is you have a lot of bad faith actors, I think, that are going around right now talking about, hey, phishing is bad for games, even though some people like Grums have said that for Stellar Blade, it's actually a good thing. You can't trust these people, guys, okay? But one thing that is being talked about is, I believe, Christopher Dring, who does a lot of these, analytics and looks at these sales and stuff. So he had talked about how the game is doing, like, spectacularly well in the UK boxed, okay, physical. Now, this is where, again, these grifters, I think, are really taking it and literally just missing the parts that, like, make it a full story and just kind of twisting it into their own thing. So the actual story goes that it beat week 2 of the new FIFA, or I guess it's not called FIFA anymore. Okay, it beat week 2 of those sales, which is a pretty big deal, by the way, because that's always one of the best-selling games of any year. Pick your year. It also, I believe, is tripling the sales of Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. Now, that's a re-release of a re-release of a re-release. You could debate how impactful that is. Still, Mario Galaxy is Mario Galaxy, and tripling it is quite a big deal. Now, the one thing is that it's doing, I believe, 40% less than Ghost of Tsushima. Now, you stop there and you say, well, is that a bad thing? Now, depending on who you look at online, number one, that is the only thing that those fools actually looked at. Number two, just think for a second. And look, I think a good amount of people that watch my videos are not them, so I'm not going to talk to you like you're idiots. It's other people, I think. What this really means is what? It means it's been 5 more years, and the 40% thing I write off entirely. You want to know why? Because you're talking about physical. Okay? If you know anything about the gaming industry, and I think all of us know this, whether you're pretending to be dumb, whether you are dumb, whether you're a grifter or not a grifter, whatever, no matter what you are, I think we can all agree that physical games are dying. Now, some people care about it, like myself actually, more than other people, right? But I think we can all agree on that first part, right? Physical games are really sinking, even years ago, it was like a 70-30 split. Man, it's gone down even worse, 80-20, 90-10, depending on which publisher you're talking about or whatever. Some publishers, barely do literally any physical sales, okay? So when they say, hey, it's lagging 40% behind Ghost of Tsushima, does that mean that everybody canceled their pre-orders? Does that mean the boycott worked? No, it doesn't mean that. What it honestly means is in 5 years, do you not think that the ratio of physical to digital changed in any way in these last 5 years? Of course it has. We know all of this statistically, that physical games have continued every year to fall off a freaking cliff. Again, you don't have to like that, by the way. I hate it. I despise it. But it is the truth. So what I would look at is more of the competition. How is it doing against the FIFAs? How is it doing against Mario? How is it doing maybe digitally against Ghost? And I'm not saying, like I said in the first minute of the video, I do think Ghost of Tsushima at this point would be outselling Ghost of Yotei. At the end of the day, I think Ghost of Tsushima sold 13 million. I don't know. Can Yotei do it? It might sell 8 to 10, and you can debate amongst yourselves, if that's a failure or not. But one thing, just again, in terms of that misinformation, just lying. It's just lying, really. It's twisting the news to serve your own narrative. That is what I kind of wanted to call out here. The 40% thing, could it literally be selling less, and let's say digital, selling less digitally than Ghost of Tsushima? Yeah, it very well might be. Number one, is it 40%? I highly doubt it. Number two, that stat alone means nothing to me, because is it possible that just in 5 years, people are buying 40% less physical media? 100%. People are buying 80% less physical media now than they were 5 years ago, and 80% before that. That's how it is now. It's just like literally what's going on. So that's that misinformation kind of part to it, but it seems like it's doing pretty darn good. We'll see when the official... I will say one thing, okay, in terms of maybe a hot take. I'm not a... Well, number one, I do like transparency. I always like transparency, and I think one thing you can say about PlayStation, maybe in a negative way, right, that allows these fools, to run with their narratives is... I think they've actually shied away from more now than ever saying stuff. I remember seeing comments about like, hey, do we know how Death Stranding 2 went? And it's like, I looked for that stuff monthly. Like after Death Stranding 2 came out, I really liked it. But I like to cover these things. When a game sells 1 million, when it sells 2 million, I like to make videos on it just to kind of celebrate it, talk about the news, whatever. I was waiting for them to say something about Death Stranding 2, and it never happened. And yeah, that's Kojima Productions, but it's published, by Sony as of right now, So I will say, in terms of the one negative, like I like transparency, and I know stories can be told kind of no matter what, but come out there and tell us, if it sold 2 million. Like again, with Death Stranding 2, I don't think we know how it could have done 1 million. It could have done 4 million for like we literally. I think you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe there's estimates. Like normally there's that, right? There's estimates like Death Stranding 2 maybe estimated to have sold 2.5, 3 million. That's by the way, that's kind of where I think it. Like I'm not just saying that to say it. I feel like it sold under 5, but not like 1 or 2, maybe 2.5, 3, 3.5, somewhere in that range. But we'll see. You don't actually know. I guess the estimates are estimates. So for Ghost of Yotei, I would like to hear something. Within the first week. Even if it's sold, even if Ghost of Tsushima did 4 and Yotei did 2, I still want to hear 2, because I don't want us to go 5-6 months from now and say, hey, do we know how well it could have sold 7 million in 6 months? It's not going to. I don't think that fast, but you could say, well, how do we know, like, how much is this thing doing? And they're just not saying it. So I would hope that PlayStation says something soon. I think because an employee of PlayStation China said something, I think that probably means it's right around the corner. I wouldn't be shocked if tomorrow or Wednesday we hear 2, 2.5, whatever the actual number is. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.